Hi, I'm Chapman, and I want to talk to you a little bit about how to choose who to build your website. Now, typically, when you start off with wanting to have a website built, the first thing that a lot of business owners are looking at is the cost. How much is it going to cost for the website? And I want to challenge you to not think so much about the cost yet. I mean, it's definitely an important thing that we'll get to. But first, think about how your web properties are going to grow over time, how you're going to grow as a business, and how those properties are going to mature with you. So to really do that, we need to consider the different types of developers that will be hired to build these properties out for you. I really like to break this down into four categories of developers. Typically, it's going to be kind of like the friend or the kid next door, uh, or the freelancer type of developer, an agency or a web dev firm, and finally an in-house team, someone that you actually hire to be on your staff and have done, or not have done, but and they build everything out for you. So to really dive into this, let's look at the friend or the kid down the street. Typically, this is your type of person who doesn't have much formal training or pretty much any formal training, self-taught, but also lacking experience. Like, I don't want to hound on developers that are completely self-taught and excel at it. It's a whole different topic, but I'm looking specifically at the people that lack the experience, that lack the track record of building anything. They're the type of developer, having not had that experience, they don't tend to know about a lot of the little gotchas that exist out there. They know how to physically put things together, possibly, and deliver you a website, and not a lot more than a website. They're basically out there. They're the ones building out basically a clickable brochure, and a good website or a good web presence should be much more than that, in my opinion. Um, so typically, the friend, we'll just call him the friend. The friend is the person lacking those nuanced experiences, and where that can really bite you is like, so there's different kinds of compliancy that you need to have, depending on what your website does. So, for instance, if your website targets children in any way, be it you're offering plush animals to kids, or cartoons, or whatever, there's very stringent rules surrounding what information that you can collect on your users. And when you do, you have to follow what's called the COPA Act. But basically, to get into COPA compliancy, there's a number of things that you have to make sure that you're adhering to, and if you don't, you can have some far-reaching consequences, legal consequences. And from the e-commerce side, some other compliances that are out there. There's a thing called a PCI compliance, and if you're not in full PCI compliance, your own bank can fine you between $5,000 and $100,000 each month that you're not in compliance. So imagine that you hire a kid down the street to build your revolutionary idea, and they do it for such a good cost, low cost, and everything takes off. You get featured on some major show. You get featured on some major television, and people are buying your product, and everything's going great. You're making a lot of transactions monthly, and now all of a sudden, $100,000 a month fine is coming at you, and you don't want to take down your website to like fix the problem, because you have money coming in, but you need to figure out what to do, and then you're just in a really bad situation. And that's ultimately where, I mean, another thing to think about there too is the friend or the kid down the street. They're not an expert, and neither are you. You are not a web expert. So who is directing the project? If it's you, the business owner, that's not the business that you're in. That's not your expertise. And what I mean by that is there's so many different tools that could be built to help your business internally and externally communicate with your users and manage the relationships with your clients, and manage the interactions between your departments, and optimize how orders are taken in, processed, and gotten back out to your clients. And a lot of those are going to get overlooked when you hire a friend down the street to make you a website. So so the next group I want to talk about is the freelancer. And the freelancer is, kind of almost the exact opposite of the friend. The freelancer has the experience. They have the track record. Maybe they have a formal education. The idea here is a freelancer is someone looking to start their own business, and they're early in those stages. They have a little bit of a track record. They have a number of clients or a number of projects that they've built, and they can show you those and basically say, I want to do this for your company. And typically, the best way to find a freelancer, you can look online. There's a couple websites out there where you can bid for the right freelancer. But I'd really recommend look up some of your local colleges, or look up maybe some major universities that specialize in web design. And I wouldn't push for state universities in this situation. I'd look for more profession-based universities. And every one of these are going to have a career department for you to reach out to, and they're going to want to absolutely talk to you and have you interact with their potential graduates or their actual graduates to see who would fit the bill for you to hire, because that's what they're there to do. They're there to find jobs for their graduates. Help them. And the big thing there is, they're starting their own business as a freelancer. So if you are young in your business, it might be a great way to pair up. And as they grow, you grow, and you both scale together beautifully. Now, the freelancer may or may not be aware or have that level of not professionalism, but the track record to recognize a lot of the nuanced tools or ways to enhance your site or enhance your products, because they're not really embedded into your company. They're this external consultant, basically, that they want to help you, but they might not fully know you or have the time to recognize what your product does specifically, because you might be one of several clients that they have, and they have to juggle their time accordingly. And ultimately, that's where the agency level comes in, because with an agency, you can if you have to have something produced with 100 man hours inside of a week, you might kill a freelancer to get that. But an agency, they have the extra staff to expand to the scope of the project and take care of that. Maybe if they don't, maybe everyone's schedule is filled. They typically have the ability to reach out to their freelancers or to their connections and bring them in to augment their workforce for the scope of the turnaround of your project. And some of the other things that with an agency that you really get is a project manager. They're there to make sure that everything happens very smoothly. You can basically kick back and just answer their questions. You shouldn't. The more active exchange you have, the better product you're going to end up with. But at the end of it, the agency is there to upsell you on as many things as they can find that you need for your business. And that's just a matter of handling that by understanding what they're trying to sell you, and what makes sense for your business and what doesn't. And typically, at an agency, the typical thing to say is there's no problem that you can't throw money at to solve, because they can just bring in whoever is needed. So the last one to talk about is an in-house team. Now, the in-house team is going to be typically less expensive than an agency, but with an in-house team, they're going to be directly embedded into your company, and they're going to be able to, in their off time when they're not working on your public-facing web properties, they're going to be the people that are building your internal tools to help you connect with your clients better, more effectively, more reliably, They can make the systems that, when a call comes in, or not just make the systems, but like there's content relation management systems out there, CRMs, that when a salesperson calls a client, they document it in a system, and it gets filed away so that any other salesperson knows that this was the last thing that was interacted with this client. Well, those CRMs are just one tool. There could be a whole set of tools needed for whatever else that you're doing, and maybe that tool and the other tool need to get tied together. Well, here's where an in-house team really thrives, because they can come in, stitch those together, and next thing you know, your project managers just have a dashboard that shows the status of absolutely everyone working on a project, where exactly they are, how complete the project is. So actually, for the course of this business that I'm making, Apection, I'm going to be using the in-house team model, and I'll be the in-house team developer for now. Maybe I don't necessarily want to bring in freelancers to help me, and that's from the standpoint that I have a background in web, so I would be able to manage them effectively. But the time that I would use managing them, I could just develop the project myself in with the same level of effort, or a similar level of effort, up until a specific point. Once we hit that point, that's when I'm gonna have to start rethinking how exactly my staff situation is, and that just sounds like a good problem to have. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that, but not worry about it today. But so after you choose what type of developer you're going to want, how you're going to grow your company, that's when you can start to target in on the price. And we'll talk more about that another time.